God says, "My child, there are moments in life when you are called to look forward with hope and determination, and there are moments when you are gently invited to look back with understanding and wisdom, not to reopen wounds, not to dwell on regret, but to recognize the lessons that shaped your journey." Right now, something connected to your family's past is rising into your awareness, not as a burden but as a source of clarity. You may have felt subtle thoughts recently about your upbringing, your roots, or the patterns you witnessed growing up. Those reflections are not random. They are guiding you toward deeper understanding about who you are becoming and where you are headed. Every family carries stories. Some stories are filled with resilience and sacrifice, others with misunderstanding and silent struggles. Whether openly spoken or quietly hidden, these stories shape beliefs, habits, and expectations. You may have inherited strengths such as perseverance, loyalty, or discipline, but you may also have inherited fears, doubts, or limiting patterns. The message being revealed to you now is about awareness. When you understand where certain behaviors or beliefs originated, you gain the power to choose which ones to keep and which ones to release. That is how clarity forms. That is how generational cycles transform. Archangel guidance is reminding you that you are not responsible for the mistakes of the past, but you are responsible for what you do with the understanding you gain from it. Perhaps you grew up witnessing financial instability that created anxiety around money. Perhaps communication within your family was limited, causing emotions to remain unspoken. Perhaps certain dreams were discouraged, leading you to question your potential. None of these experiences were meant to confine you forever. They were meant to teach you awareness. Awareness gives you choice. Choice shapes your future. God says, "My child, reflect gently on what you observed in your early years. What patterns repeated? What lessons were silently absorbed? What strengths were modeled? Take time to acknowledge both the positive and the challenging aspects of your family history. Gratitude for the strengths and compassion for the struggles will bring balance to your heart. Blame creates stagnation, but understanding creates growth. When you understand why certain fears or reactions exist within you, they lose their control over your decisions. There may be a conversation, a memory, or a realization emerging soon that sheds light on something you once misunderstood. It may help you see your parents, guardians, or relatives from a more mature perspective. As you grow older, your understanding expands. What once seemed unfair may now appear as someone doing their best with limited resources. This shift in perspective can release resentment and replace it with empathy. Empathy does not excuse harm, but it allows healing. Healing frees you to move forward without carrying emotional weight that was never meant to define you. The clarity being offered to you now also involves your future decisions. When you consciously break patterns that no longer serve you, you create a new foundation for your life and for those who may look up to you one day. If instability was common in the past, you can choose structure. If silence was common, you can choose communication. If doubt was common, you can choose confidence. Your awareness becomes the turning point in your family's story. You are not simply continuing a legacy, you are refining it. God says, "My child, do not fear what you discover about your past. Truth does not arrive to hurt you, it arrives to strengthen you. Sometimes clarity feels uncomfortable at first because it reveals realities you avoided, but once acknowledged, those realities lose their power. With clarity comes direction. With direction comes peace. And with peace comes confidence in the path ahead. You may feel an emotional shift as you reflect on where you came from. Allow yourself to feel it without judgment. Growth requires honesty. When you embrace both the light and the shadow of your history, you become whole. Wholeness attracts stability in relationships, career decisions, and personal goals. When you are no longer unconsciously repeating old patterns, your future becomes more intentional. This is a powerful moment of awareness. Instead of reacting automatically based on old conditioning, you are learning to respond thoughtfully. That shift changes everything. It changes how you handle finances, how you communicate in relationships, how you pursue opportunities, and how you see yourself. The past shaped you, but it does not control you. You now have clarity, and clarity builds freedom. Pause for a moment and ask yourself what pattern you are ready to transform. Is it fear of failure? Is it difficulty expressing emotion? Is it hesitation to pursue something greater? Identify it calmly and choose a new response moving forward. Small conscious changes create long-term transformation. God says, "My child, the message from your family's past is not meant to trap you in memory. It is meant to empower you with understanding. When you understand your roots, you stand stronger in your future." Continue walking forward with compassion, maturity, and intention. You are capable of honoring your history while building something even stronger ahead. God says, "My child, as you continue reflecting on the roots of your life and the patterns that shaped you, there is something even deeper that must be understood with patience and maturity, and that is this. Your family's past is not only a collection of events, it is a blueprint of beliefs that quietly influence the way you see yourself, the way you see money, relationships, success, failure, responsibility, and even love. Many of these beliefs were absorbed before you were old enough to question them. They became normal to you simply because they were familiar. Now you are being invited to gently examine those beliefs, not with criticism, not with rebellion, but with awareness strong enough to decide what truly belongs in your future and what does not. You may begin to recognize that certain fears you carry did not begin with you. Perhaps there was anxiety around financial stability that passed down through generations. Perhaps there was silence around emotional vulnerability that made it difficult to express feelings openly. Perhaps there were dreams that were once set aside because survival felt more urgent than aspiration. These patterns are not signs of weakness, they are signs of context. When you understand the context of your family's history, you gain compassion. And when compassion replaces confusion, clarity begins to form. Clarity allows you to consciously choose a new direction without rejecting your roots entirely. Archangel guidance is encouraging you to honor the sacrifices that were made before you, even if those sacrifices were imperfect. Every generation does what it can with the awareness it has at the time. You now possess a different awareness, shaped by education, exposure, reflection, and growth. That expanded awareness gives you the opportunity to build differently. You are not meant to carry forward the struggles unchanged, you are meant to refine the lessons and strengthen the outcomes. This is how legacy evolves. It is not erased, it is improved. God says, "My child, notice how your understanding of success has been influenced by what you witnessed growing up. Was success defined by financial stability alone, or by emotional peace as well? Was achievement encouraged openly, or approached cautiously? Your answers to these questions reveal beliefs that may still shape your decisions today. When you become conscious of these inherited definitions, you gain the ability to redefine success in a way that aligns with your authentic purpose rather than outdated expectations. There may also be hidden strengths within your family history that you have not fully acknowledged. Resilience during hardship. Loyalty during difficulty. Discipline during uncertainty. These qualities are part of you. They are assets. When you combine inherited resilience with new clarity, you create powerful momentum. The key is balance. Keep the strengths. Transform the limitations. Release the fears that no longer serve you. Strengthen the courage that does. As this message unfolds, you may feel an emotional awareness emerging. You may remember conversations that once seemed ordinary but now carry deeper meaning. You may understand the pressure your elders faced in ways you could not before. This understanding does not require you to excuse mistakes, but it allows you to move forward without resentment weighing you down. Emotional freedom creates mental clarity. Mental clarity improves decision-making. Improved decisions shape a stronger future. God says, "My child, you are standing at a point where generational patterns can shift through your awareness. If communication was once limited, you can practice openness. If financial planning was reactive rather than proactive, you can create structure. If fear overshadowed opportunity, you can act with informed confidence." These changes do not happen overnight, but they begin with a conscious choice. The more intentional you become, the more stability your future will reflect. There is also something important about forgiveness that must be addressed. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or ignoring what was painful. It means choosing not to let unresolved emotion control your present. When you release resentment, you regain focus. When you regain focus, you strengthen direction. Direction brings peace. Peace allows growth. You cannot fully step into a clear future if your heart is burdened by unexamined pain. Examine it calmly. Understand it. Then decide to move forward with maturity. Archangel guidance reminds you that clarity is not meant to create division within your family. It is meant to create wisdom within you. You may choose different approaches, different priorities, different strategies than those before you, but you can do so respectfully. Growth does not require disrespect. It requires courage and intention. By evolving thoughtfully, you honor both your roots and your future. God says, "My child, reflect on what kind of environment you want to create moving forward. Do you want emotional openness? Financial structure? Encouragement of ambition? Stability in relationships?" Begin practicing those qualities now. Your future is shaped by repeated behavior. When you consciously break unhealthy cycles and reinforce healthy ones, you create a new normal for yourself and for anyone influenced by you. Pause for a moment and identify one belief from your past that you are ready to transform. Replace it with a stronger belief aligned with clarity and confidence. Repeat that new belief through action. Action solidifies intention. Intention builds change. Change strengthens legacy. God says, "My child, the message from your family's past is not here to trap you in reflection, but to empower you with understanding." When you understand where you came from, you move forward with greater wisdom. When you move forward with wisdom, your future becomes intentional instead of accidental. Continue walking with awareness. Continue choosing growth. Continue refining your legacy. God says, "My child, as you continue to uncover the quiet lessons hidden within your family's past, there is one more powerful truth you must allow to settle deeply into your heart, and that is this: awareness is not the end of the journey, it is the beginning of transformation." Many people recognize patterns but never change them. Many understand where certain fears or habits came from but continue repeating them because familiarity feels safer than growth. You, however, are being invited to step beyond recognition into intentional action. The clarity you are receiving is not simply for reflection, it is for refinement. It is for strengthening your future with wisdom instead of repeating cycles unconsciously. There may be subtle ways your upbringing shaped how you respond to conflict, how you manage finances, how you express love, or how you pursue ambition. Perhaps you learned to stay silent when something bothered you because that felt safer. Perhaps you learned to work constantly because rest was seen as weakness. Perhaps you learned to avoid risks because stability felt more secure than possibility. These learned responses were not created randomly, they were survival strategies passed down through experience. Now that you are aware of them, you can evaluate which strategies still serve your life and which ones limit your growth. This evaluation requires honesty, but it also requires compassion for yourself and those who came before you. Archangel guidance reminds you that generational growth does not mean rejection of your roots. It means evolution of your direction. You can honor your family's strength while improving areas that lacked clarity. You can appreciate sacrifice while building smarter systems. You can respect history while creating healthier dynamics. When you approach transformation with gratitude rather than rebellion, you move forward peacefully. Peaceful growth is sustainable growth. Sustainable growth builds strong foundations for your future. God says, "My child, the clarity emerging in your life right now is also connected to your identity." Sometimes people struggle with confidence because they internalized subtle messages about limitation during childhood. You may have been told certain dreams were unrealistic. You may have observed fear overshadow opportunity. You may have witnessed hesitation whenever change approached. These influences quietly shaped your comfort zone. But comfort zones are not destiny. They are habits. And habits can be changed through conscious repetition of new choices. When you begin choosing courage over hesitation, your confidence expands. When you expand your confidence, your future possibilities expand as well. As you reflect on your family's past, consider the emotional patterns that existed. Was vulnerability encouraged, or was strength defined as silence? Did disagreements lead to growth, or were they avoided entirely? Understanding these dynamics allows you to choose healthier alternatives moving forward. You can practice clear communication instead of suppression. You can practice empathy instead of assumption. You can practice problem solving instead of avoidance. Each intentional change strengthens your emotional maturity. Emotional maturity strengthens relationships. Strong relationships create stability. There may also be financial lessons hidden within your history. Perhaps scarcity created caution. Perhaps instability created anxiety. Perhaps lack of planning created stress. These experiences do not define your financial future unless you allow them to remain unconscious influences. Awareness allows you to build systems that provide structure and peace. Budgeting, planning, saving, and informed investing are not merely financial actions, they are emotional stabilizers. When money is handled with clarity, tension decreases. When tension decreases, relationships improve. Everything is connected. God says, "My child, your awareness now places you in a position of leadership within your own life." Leadership does not require loud announcements, it requires consistent behavior. When you break unhealthy cycles calmly and deliberately, you create a new example for others around you. Even if you never speak about it directly, your actions will influence those who observe you. Stability spreads through example. Discipline spreads through consistency. Compassion spreads through patience. It is important that you do not rush this transformation. True growth is gradual. If you try to change everything at once, you may feel overwhelmed. Instead, choose one area to improve intentionally. Practice new communication habits. Strengthen financial organization. Build healthier emotional boundaries. Small consistent changes compound over time. Compounding creates visible results. Visible results build confidence. Confidence reinforces positive behavior. Archangel guidance also reminds you to release guilt for not recognizing these patterns earlier. Growth happens when awareness arrives. You cannot change what you did not yet understand. Now you understand more clearly. That is progress. Instead of regretting the past, use it as reference for better decisions. Regret drains energy, reflection strengthens direction. God says, "My child, the message from your family's past is ultimately about empowerment. You are not a product of limitation. You are a product of resilience with the opportunity to expand further. You carry strengths that were forged through struggle, and you now possess clarity that allows refinement. When resilience and clarity combine, transformation becomes inevitable." Pause and consider what kind of legacy you want to build moving forward. Do you want future generations to inherit fear or confidence? Confusion or clarity? Silence or communication? Instability or structure? The choices you make today quietly influence those outcomes. You are shaping more than your own path, you are shaping the atmosphere of your future environment. God says, "My child, walk forward with intention. Let your awareness guide your decisions. Let your compassion soften your reflection. Let your discipline strengthen your actions. The past informed you, but it does not confine you. Your future is shaped by conscious alignment with wisdom and growth. God says, "My child, as you reach this deeper layer of understanding, you must now recognize that the greatest gift hidden inside your family's past is perspective, and perspective has the power to change the direction of your entire future. When you look back with maturity instead of emotion alone, you begin to see how every experience shaped your resilience, your caution, your ambition, and even your fears. What once felt confusing now begins to make sense. What once felt limiting now reveals hidden strength. This is not about rewriting history, it is about understanding it clearly enough that it no longer controls you unconsciously. Awareness is freedom, and freedom allows you to build intentionally rather than reactively. There may have been expectations placed upon you that shaped your decisions without you even realizing it. Perhaps you were encouraged to choose stability over passion. Perhaps you were guided toward responsibility before fully exploring your individuality. Perhaps you learned to prioritize others' needs before acknowledging your own. These influences were not always negative, but they may have narrowed your self-perception. Now, with greater clarity, you can expand that perception. You can honor responsibility while still honoring your personal growth. You can value stability while still pursuing purpose. You can support others without neglecting yourself. Balance is the evolution of wisdom. Archangel guidance is reminding you that transformation does not require confrontation, it requires consistency. You do not need to challenge your family history loudly. You simply need to live differently where improvement is needed. If silence once dominated emotional expression, practice openness gently. If fear once dictated financial decisions, practice informed confidence steadily. If doubt once discouraged ambition, practice disciplined pursuit of your goals consistently. Over time, your example becomes evidence that growth is possible. Quiet evolution often speaks louder than argument. God says, "My child, the clarity coming into your life now is preparing you for decisions that will shape your long-term stability." When you understand the roots of your habits, you make wiser choices about relationships, finances, career paths, and communication. You become less reactive and more intentional. Instead of repeating patterns automatically, you pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully. That pause is powerful. That pause is where generational change begins. Within that pause, you decide whether to continue an old cycle or create a new one. It is also important to recognize the emotional weight you may have carried unknowingly. Sometimes people carry the expectations, disappointments, or unspoken dreams of previous generations. This weight can create internal pressure to succeed in specific ways or avoid certain risks. Now that you are aware, you can release pressure that does not belong to your authentic path. You can pursue success in a way that aligns with your strengths rather than inherited fear. When pressure is replaced with clarity, motivation becomes healthier and more sustainable. There may be moments of gratitude as you reflect, and there may also be moments of realization about areas that need healing. Allow both to exist without judgment. Gratitude strengthens appreciation. Realization strengthens growth. Together they create balanced maturity. You are not rejecting your past, you are refining it. You are not abandoning your roots, you are strengthening the soil for new growth. God says, "My child, your future will reflect the quality of the patterns you choose to continue." If you choose discipline, your future reflects stability. If you choose communication, your future reflects connection. If you choose courage, your future reflects opportunity. If you choose forgiveness, your future reflects peace. Each conscious choice you make now becomes part of a new narrative. That narrative will influence your household, your relationships, and even those who observe your journey quietly. Archangel guidance also encourages you to stay patient with this process. Deep-rooted patterns do not dissolve instantly. They soften gradually as new habits are practiced repeatedly. Be gentle with yourself when old reactions surface. Awareness is already progress. Each time you choose a wiser response, you strengthen a new pathway. Consistency transforms understanding into reality. You are now standing in a position of power, not power over others, but power over your direction. You understand more than you did before. You see more clearly than you once did. That clarity is your advantage. Use it thoughtfully. Use it calmly. Use it intentionally. When you build your future with understanding rather than impulse, stability naturally follows. Pause and reflect on the person you want to become 5 years from now. Consider the environment you want to create. Consider the emotional tone you want to maintain. Consider the financial habits you want to practice. Begin aligning small daily actions with that vision. Small alignment repeated daily becomes transformation over time. God says, "My child, the message from your family's past was never meant to trap you in memory. It was meant to empower you with wisdom. When wisdom guides your decisions, your future becomes steady. When your future becomes steady, your confidence deepens. When confidence deepens, your influence strengthens. Continue moving forward with awareness, gratitude, and discipline. Your past informed you, but your choices now define you." If this message has reached your heart, comment, "I build my future with clarity and wisdom," below. Like this video if you believe understanding creates strength, and subscribe if you are committed to transforming your awareness into lasting stability and purposeful growth.